How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And you might be wondering, Patty, what's up, with the little box around you, bud? That's actually to hide old Patty. We're looking at some footage and everything from the closed beta test, or the third iteration of it, so CBT3. That I was lucky enough to be a part of. And this is just going to be essentially background footage while we're talking about stuff. If you're newer to my channel, the way that I prefer to do things is I want my content to feel like someone having a genuine conversation with you. I don't like to... I'm not personally a fan of really edited stuff or really scripted stuff. I think a lot of times you lose the authenticity that you have as an individual when you do highly edited content. That's not to mean that I don't ever edit my content, but there's usually special videos, and usually the editing is just me putting video clips together to talk about, in which then I will do it in the same format where I kind of just honestly rant at you a little bit. But I hope that it comes across genuine, because I just want to let you know what I think and what I feel about some of this stuff. And there's a lot of things that I'm seeing pop up on the Reddit, so the kind of video that I wanted to do today is essentially things that I feel like new players need to know. Because I've seen some stuff on the Reddit where people are, really worried about certain aspects of the game. And are just curious about other things. So I sat down, wrote me out a nice little pretty list of things that I kind of wanted to talk about. Not a script. But essentially just, some points and everything for us to go through, and me give you the best information that I have based on my experience, and the knowledge that I have from being part of the community, which isn't a crazy amount. I am not the Genshin master, silence phone. And, I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I will tell you exactly how much I know and then let you know where I'm shady on the details. You know what I mean? Shady's probably the worst word I could have used there. Where I'm fuzzy on the details. Where I don't know something for a fact, I'll let you know. So let's go ahead and just jump into some of the things that I want to talk about. And one of the bigger ones, because I've seen a few threads pop up about this on the Reddit, in regards to it being a gacha game. Okay. And just to give you a bit of background on me, I've been playing gacha games since 2015. Your boy still plays Summoner's War. We know our gachas, you know what I mean? It is not something that I'm unfamiliar with or have only seen a few times. I know my gachas. This game is very free-to-play friendly. The story can be cleared with the champions that you unlock playing through the story. There is no, arena or anything like that, might feed into the competitiveness that will drive some people to drop a whole lot of money. But there's also not a huge, gigantic hero pool. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but we're not looking at hundreds and hundreds of champions, you know what I mean? We're looking at under 50, and even as they add new characters to the during the life cycle of the game, we're probably not gonna, exceed super far past 50, at least not within the first year or for however long I feel like this is gonna be relevant. But it's a very free-to-play friendly game. You can, the characters they give you through the story are absolute baddies. One of my favorite characters, and I've tried a few of the ones that you get through summons and everything. Lisa's still my girl, y'all. I absolutely love my girl Lisa. I would be very hard-pressed to give her up. And from everything that I've heard, the only time you'll start to see an aspect where it's like, okay, you do need some stronger champions is in the Abyss dungeons, and it's way down the road. There is hundreds of hours in this game that you can enjoy without that aspect, becoming main stage. From what I understand, the Abyss dungeon does eventually become essentially the end game once you get through the story and everything. But It's a huge world that is always changing or always growing along with your adventure rank and the world rank. There is lots and lots of real, genuine playtime. And in a lot of gacha games, playtime consists of you just auto-farming dungeons that you've already cleared 8,000 times. This is not a gacha that has that element. There is so much more game in this gacha game than almost anything else in the gacha market. So if you're a new player and that's a really big concern to you, I'm telling you, there is so much great gameplay in this that it's really not something you need to be as concerned about, which, as a consumer, I don't fault you for having those concerns and questions, because there are a lot of games that have that, very predatory gacha systems. Look at like Raid Shadow Legends, where you absolutely you cannot clear the game and reach end game content with farmable characters. You have to you not only can do that, but you also have to pull certain meta champions to be able to even get to certain end game content. This ain't one of those games. This isn't one of those games, period, at all. They put the game first, and then the gacha element is kind of secondary, in my opinion. Personally, the way, from my experience playing the beta, how I'm currently viewing it is the, gacha element is what's going to add, another 20 to 50 hours of gameplay per character that you're unlocking. Because building these guys out, you can't just snap your fingers and absolutely have it done. So you get a amazing amount of mileage for a mobile game out of every character that you have. So that's kind of it for the first point that I wanted to try and hammer home. Second thing that I want to touch on is the world is huge. It's continually growing. Basically, you have your adventure rank, right? You get your adventure rank up to a certain point, you get the story up to a certain point, and you can advance the world rank. Is that always tied to advancing the world rank? I'm not absolutely sure. I know one of the first iterations is more along those lines, but typically, from what I understand, as you increase your adventure rank, your world rank will go up, and the monsters start getting pretty strong. Like, you gotta work for that, boo. And it's very, very interesting. There's a lot of stuff out in the world itself to engage you. Lots of stuff to find. It's a very, very big world. One of the things that I actually wanted to do and didn't get a chance to, because I had some family stuff come up that kept me from really, really farming the beta 12 hours every day, is I wanted to make a video where I started at the top of the map and ran all the way down. That just to see how long it would take. I obviously was planning on, fast forwarding the footage and everything, or speeding it up, I should say, so that you could just get a true scale of how big the world is. It's big. It probably would have taken me an hour to run from all the way to the top to all the way to the bottom, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So they, just good job. It's nice, pretty, and really big. Next thing that I kind of want to touch on, and we're going to do a follow-up video, probably a few follow-up videos, because this system is probably my favorite part of the game, and it's deeper than surface level. I'm still finding out and reading out about stuff. One thing that I found out 2 days ago from the mods in the Discord and everything in the content creator channel is essentially that there's a order for certain effects. So like vaporize is pyro and hydro together, right? If hydro is the first element and pyro is the second element that gets introduced to cause vaporize, it's going to do ×2 damage. If you're, or I think it might be 1.5 that way. And then if it's hydro first and then fire, it's 1.5. Logic behind that is fire champions are typically pure DPS or very high DPS. So they've kind of played with the system a little bit to show that and adjust for it. So it's it's a little bit more complicated than just, oh, this and this do this, this and this do this, and we'll do a nice whole long video about that. For that one, that's actually one of the ones that I want to try and put together a bunch of clips so that I can kind of go through and show, like, all right, these are the visual things you're looking for this, so that you know this is on the enemy, and different stuff like that. But essentially, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about yet, we're talking about the elemental interactions. For now, we'll limit it to 3 big concepts. Enemy element, if it has one. Some enemies are, comprised of an element, and you'll see an icon, floating next to their health bar and everything that indicates, like, oh, okay, yeah, this fire guy's on fire right now. That's an important thing to, keep an eye out for and know if you're, what enemy element, you're up against, what it has, because there are some that, like, say they've got a fire stick and they can beat you with that stick and set you on fire. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily on fire themselves, but there are enemies who essentially will permanently have the effect of the element that they are on them at all times. Next one I would say is your skill elements / how to apply them. So certain characters, certain skills will, either do like an AoE or an effect on the person. Let's take Amber, for instance, the girl that you saw at the very beginning of the video with bow and arrow and everything. Her normal attacks don't put fire on anything. Her doll can blow stuff up and set it on fire. But if you do her charged attack and just hold your normal attack for a real long time, she pulls it back, you get to do your little Amy thing, and then that charge shot will put fire on them. So it's a good idea, and you'll really figure this out by testing and playing around with characters as you get them and getting an idea of how they work. But, essentially just want to make sure that you guys understand that, if someone's a, wind or anemo element and everything, not every one of their attacks is going to be an anemo attack. And you want to understand what you have to do and then when those skills are going to be the most useful to pop out. Next thing to consider, which this was something that really impressed me the first time I realized it was happening, environmental elements. There's certain places in the world where they will apply an elemental effect. So if someone is standing in a pool of water, guess what? They're wet. They've got the hydro debuff. Well, not really a debuff on them. They've got the hydro effect on them. So you can walk up with your girl Lisa and start raining down the pain. Because they're already wet from the environment that they're standing in. Are you fighting some people and things are starting to get a little dicey? Well, hey, there's a pool 20 feet behind you. Run to that and start using your environment to your advantage. It's amazing. It can rain in the game. It can snow in the game. When it starts raining, we just pull Lisa out and start going to town on people. It's not even fair. She just does so much damage to them. It's beautiful. It's one of the more impressive things that I've seen in a game, that it's taking the environment into account in such a way that it actively affects your play style. It's just good. It's just good. Good job, Genshin. You did great, buddy. We've kind of already touched on the gacha stuff, but just to kind of get real quickly specific, and then we'll move past it. Most basic way to explain the gacha system is that you've got 2 types of fates. One is essentially just for regular summons, and then the second one is going to be for banner summons. Banner summons can be for a specific character. It could be for several specific characters. Or it could be for weapons. That changes up a little bit. We'll make follow-up videos probably each time there is a banner and kind of talk about whether or not, like, hey, I think this one is worth it. Oh, I'm definitely throwing down on this one. Or, nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm going to sit on these shards and save them. So nothing too crazy or game-breaking there. Next thing I wanted to touch on is the story and the characters are great. Like, they are objectively very, very well written. The world building, it does a very, very good job. What I think is personally strongest, in my opinion, is character personalities, how flushed out they are, and how genuine their interaction with other people and their personalities feels. It's good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's a couple of characters that you're kind of supposed to regard in a silly way and not take them very seriously or think they're kind of, dumb. You're supposed to. They literally wrote it that way. And that was one of the things that playing through the beta that, really made me feel like I was playing a full game, because you are playing a full game. This is a gacha game, but it is very much a game first with some gacha elements. I would easily pay $60 for this game. It's just a great game without the modifier of it being a mobile game, without the modifier of it being a gacha game. It's a good game. It's a real good game, boo. Next thing I want to kind of touch on is crafting is good, but it's not a spammable system. Some of the crafting materials are difficult to find, which makes crafted items feel more valuable and earned. It's not like you're going to go through and make 50 swords to see if any of them, have a one substat that you might, benefit from a little bit more than the ones you have now. No. It takes a little bit to craft stuff, and for me personally, that makes them feel more valuable. It makes it feel like it's not just a throwaway thing. So I think they did a good job on that. I don't know if they're going to change the crafting system at all from what we saw in the beta, but if they don't change anything at all, I'm mad at it. I'm mad at it at all. Next one might get me into it with some of my hardcore gacha people out here, because I don't think this is going to be a super popular opinion. But re-rolling is super unnecessary, in my opinion, and I honestly think it's mostly a force of habit for gacha players at this point. They're just so used to that being an aspect of playing gacha games, because there are quite a few that kind of force you to keep re-rolling until you get a meta champion. Otherwise, your life is going to be absolutely horrible. Calibria was actually one that was kind of rough on that. If out of your first couple of pulls you didn't get a good one, you had to re-roll. But that game made re-rolling super easy for you. There are games now that basically build in the idea of re-rolling into the mechanics to make that easier for people. They do that because they have to, because re-rolling has to be a meta in their game, and that's not a good thing. That's something that I personally don't feel is remotely useful in this game. And actually, I think it could potentially shorten the lifespan of the game for you. If you just keep re-rolling and re-rolling and re-rolling until you get Gene out of your first pull, it's probably going to take a long while. But I think it would just kind of cheapen the genuinely good experience of the game if you're able to just run through the first 30 hours of it absolutely pushing everything over. If you happen to get a 5-star in your first couple first like 10, 20, 30 hours of gameplay, that's awesome. I'm not going to knock that. If I pulled one, I'd start using it. But I'm not going to base my playing off of having to get one of these things. I don't think this is one of those games where you should be approaching it in that way. I don't really think you're going to be helping yourself out too much, and it's not very easy, especially if you're trying to take advantage of the launch rewards to do all the re-rolling. It's making a lot of emails and doing a lot of stuff. I ain't going to be making a guide on how to re-roll. Y'all can find it out there, I'm sure, but that's not something I really support in this game. I don't think you need to, and I don't think you're going to have a better experience because of it, and I think you're going to cheapen the experience you get if you do it. So, best of luck to you. Play how you want to play. That's just how I feel about it. Another quick thing, and this is more getting into some stuff that for newer players, just to kind of give you an idea of how some certain things work. So the MC, you'll see that abbreviation a lot. That's your main character. So that's one of the twins that you pick at the beginning, either the boy or the girl. They start the game with Animo power, which you essentially get from one of the statue of one of the seven like gods of the world. You start off with Animo. Geo is the next one that I know you unlock. I'm not sure which one you get after that, but the Animo power is super, super fun. You've probably seen it a few times in the background footage. I love setting fields on fire with it. Like, oh, someone brought a little bit of fire to the party. Cool, we're gonna send that everywhere. It's super, super, super fun, and I absolutely love it. I've also used the knockback on his Animo ability at the very end to, say, throw somebody into a pool of water, switch to Lisa, and start raining hell down on their life. These things happen. But it's a very interesting system, and as you get to the point to where you're seeing other types of statues, and you can say get the Geo power. The Geo power does a gross amount of damage, and the ultimate does a gross amount of damage, and I'm like 90% sure has some CC with it. But it makes for a very interesting aspect, and it's a nice little touch. We'll circle back around to those statue things in a second. Another thing that I want to talk about is multiplayer. So you have to reach adventure rank 16 to be able to unlock playing with your friends. How this will work is, say you're playing with two people. Or sorry, say you and one other person are playing, so it's two people total. You each get to pick two people to have control over and be able to switch between as you're playing together. If you're playing with three people, whoever the host is will be able to select two champions to play as, and then the other two people will each get one that they get to pick, and then that person is permanently out the whole time. They're running around with you. So you'd have 3 out of the 4 people in your squad out and running about. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then obviously, if you're playing with 4 people, each of you get one champion, and you're all running around, probably bullying the absolute hell out of something, because that should be a lot of damage. That should be a lot of elements going on. That should be a lot of things, and mostly owies for the bad guys. So just kind of want to give a touch on multiplayer stuff quickly for any of those people that are newer and trying to pick up information about the game. Last thing that I kind of want to touch on is stamina fatigue is real. You can fall off cliffs and you can drown. Very quickly in this game, you will start to figure out its limitations and realize that you kind of have to plan like, okay, I've got this much stamina, this cliff is this high, can I get up that? What do I need to do? Okay, maybe I need to go up over here, and then, I'll get up onto a platform, run it over there, my energy recharge a little bit, I can climb up that section, which is only this tall. It's a thing. You're gonna have to account for your stamina. As you level up this... Alright, so getting a little ahead of myself. Like, Petty, this is why people do edited content, so they don't seem dumb. Yeah, I'd rather seem honest than dumb, just saying. But as you're going around in the giant open world, you're gonna essentially, find these, little crystallized looking things. It's sometimes in hard to reach places. It's kind of like a puzzle. You have to figure out how to get to it. And sometimes it's just, meh, gimme. And as you get a certain number of, say, the Animo ones, you then take that to one of the Animo statues of the 7, turn it in. It'll tell you exactly how many you need to level up. When you level up with the statue, you get more stamina. And that's really, 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 really good. And kind of ironically, by the time you start really getting used to the stamina system and what your limitations are, you'll be getting more and more stamina from leveling those up, and it'll become less of a thing that you have to be concerned about. There's also certain items that will reduce how much stamina you're using, but typically it's just while running and sprinting that those potions and stuff will affect your stamina usage. climbing and stuff like that, I don't. I'm again, I'm not 100% positive, but I never saw anything that basically let me know like, hey, you you can just climb up an endless wall using this. All the items that I saw were specific to, like, running or gliding, something along those lines. So I don't believe those will, let you climb Mount Everest if you just got enough of your climby juice. And, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, I'm super looking forward to this game, and I hope a lot of you guys are too. And I really encourage anybody that has concerns or fears about this game, leave me a comment. Hit me up on Reddit. I would love to discuss and kind of explain away some of the fears that I've been seeing, kind of pop up repeatedly on Reddit, and mainly around the gacha system, which I understand the trepidation there because there's a lot of games that have left a bad taste in all of our mouths because of that. And I just, this game ain't gonna be one of those, boo. If this game sets the bar for other mobile games moving forward, you will see a drastic change overnight in the quality of all mobile games. I wish more companies would put the game first and then the gacha stuff second. But a lot of games don't do that. So, in closing, I can't wait for the 28th. I really appreciate your face. If you're newer to the channel, I hope you hit that subscribe button. I hope you hit that like button. I hope you tell me how your day went. And you're going to have to catch your boy in the next one because we out of here. Deuces.